Welcome to another board game review. Today I'm going to be reviewing a game by Days of Wonders called Memoir 44. For you, those of you who have not heard about Memoir 44, there's not going to be a lot of you, but Memoir 44 is... Now this is a difficult one. You could call it a war game because it's a game about war. Now the problem is most war gamers don't like you calling Memoir 44 a war game. I do tend to think of it as a war game. Why? Because it's designed by Richard Borg, the same guy who did Command and Colors of Ancients, Battle Cry, Battle Lore. But if you want to name it correctly, I would say it's a card-driven war game with a World War II theme on it. It's a little bit of a hybrid. So, first off, let's take a look what we get inside the box. First off, we get a rule booklet, which actually does a very good job at explaining the rules. Rules are pretty simple, so it's not too bad. I got this little extra manual that said the rules in Dutch, because we Dutch people cannot read English. Now, what else do you get? You get a board, which is two-sided. On one side, as you can see here, this is just plain terrain, so nothing special. On the other side, you have beaches for Operation Overlord scenarios and stuff like that, like Omaha Beach, and you get it. Now, most of the game centers around the cards. Cards you are going to be playing to move your troops around. I'm going to talk about them later. You get a couple of counters for stuff to keep track of, like victory points, but also specialized units. So if you have a special Panzer division, you're going to be placing a tile on it so that you know it's a special Panzer division. You get a lot of these geomorphic tiles. Well, they're not geomorphic, but whatever. You can place them on top of them to make rivers, mountains, forests, whatever you like, towns, and all of them will have, of course, movement restrictions, block line of sight, stuff like that. Typical war game affair. You also get a couple of these small chits with, which will represent bridges or bunkers. And of course, we get a bunch of dice. Actually, not too bad. There's not that many in the game. Most of the times, you'll just be rolling 3 dice. So you get a bunch of dice with some custom symbols on them. And of course, the meat of the game. Plastic figurines. You get 2 cases. I'm just going to take out one. With Americans and Germans. Now you have, I don't know if you can see this pretty well, but you have your little tanks, you have artillery, like so, of course, a load of soldiers. You get things like barbed wire, sandbag emplacements, and hedgehogs. So you also get these little pieces that snap together, and you put them in front of you. Let me clear the table a little bit. You put them in front of you. Why is that? Because then you don't need to hold your cards. I actually thought this was pretty neat. It's good, and you can have a great view of what cards you're able to play. Now, how does the game play? Well, first of all, you look up a scenario in your book and you place all your pawns on the board. I'm just going to be placing my board here. I'm not going to fold it out. And you'll be placing mountains on it, forests, and whatever for the scenario you're playing. Then you place your troops, most of the times like soldier squad. Well, it's not squad based, actually it's a platoon, I guess, but you place 4 soldiers on there. Now that's your platoon. You're going to be moving them all at the same time. Tanks, normally you place 3 of them in one spot. There we go. So like that. And if you have bunkers and stuff like that, they can go in there, and you get the point. Now, how does combat work? Combat is very simple. Like, if you have a soldier, you count the hexes that you're away from your opponent. So if they're on an adjacent hex, you would be rolling 3 dice. 1 hex further, 2 dice. 1 hex further, 1 dice. If you're rolling against, let's say, infantry, you roll 3 dice if they're adjacent to you, and as you can see on the die, and I don't know if you can see this, I rolled an infantry symbol. So that would be a hit. The stars are misses. No, dropped one. And if you roll a flag symbol like I just did, that means a retreat. So you would hit them, so you would take away 1 of the soldiers, and they would have to retreat 1 hex to your side of the board. Simple enough. Now, some of the things will allow you, like when you're behind. I thought it was sandbags. If you roll a flag for like a retreat, you're able to ignore the first one that's rolled against you. Now, for tanks, the same goes. You roll the 3 dice, but you need to roll a tank symbol, which are less common on the die, so it's harder to hit the tank, logically. And you also have a grenade. A grenade hits everything. So if you're firing against artillery, you only hit with a grenade. So that's the way the game balances the strength of different forces. Also, some of the forces, if they get these special little chits, will be able to do stuff like move into a forest without, because normally if you move into a forest you can't fire anymore, but let's say you're the resistance and you move into something like a forest, you're still able to attack because they know the area very well. So that's basically the game in a nutshell. Now, what do I think about the game? Do I like it? I do actually pretty much like Memoir 44 really good. Why? Because it plays really fast and you can teach it to someone and they'll be playing in like 5 minutes. I'm even playing this one with my 8-year-old daughter. So, and she really likes it. She doesn't get the strategic part that well yet, but she gets the gameplay no problem. So I think it's a really good game, very easy to teach to new people, and while it's not as complex as a war game because you don't get things like opportunity fire and stuff like that, it actually does manage to get that feeling a little bit. It's based on the command and colors system, which I do find works better with other time settings. Like, for example, if you take Command and Conquer's Asians, it works better because you really are moving these big armies in blocks and whatever. But all in all, I find it to be a very good game, a very amusing game. So if you're up for something really light and you're not expecting a deep war game, then this might be something for you. Or if you're looking to get into war games but you never had an opportunity to play one, or you're a little bit intimidated, now this is a good first step. So there you go. I hope you liked the review and see you next time. Bye.